2010 was the last time we had a single-player Star Wars game, setting aside the LEGO series of Star Wars. We had our sights set on 1313, and like all good things, it came crashing beneath our feet. This time a company came to try and lift our Star Wars depression after Episode 8. Oops. Our only worry was this company was solely first-person shooters, and what they wanted to do for this game would be drastically different than their previous projects. For better or for worse, I'm going to tell you every detail that I can. My name is Tanner, and this is For Your Money, a different kind of review. Fallen Order takes place right after the Emperor initiated Order 66. You play as Cal, who at first seemed to be an average guy working with a scrapping crew that was under Imperial control until one of his friends' lives was in danger, making Cal resort to using the Force to save him. Turns out Cal is a Jedi Padawan who's been hiding since Order 66. After Cal uses the Force to save his friend, the Imperials immediately know that a Jedi is hiding amongst their workers and Cal's life is now in danger. That is until Cere and Greez show up to the rescue. Turns out Cere is looking to rebuild the Jedis and fight the Imperials once and for all. Cere sends you to scout out a Jedi who has information on how to rebuild the Jedi Order, and it is your task to follow in his footsteps so the Jedis may once again rise up and defeat the Sith. I saw that some reviewers said this game was shallow in the storytelling department, and I'm not sure if you can skip cutscenes, and my guess is they either skipped them or they just didn't pay attention, or it's just too confusing for them. Fallen Order has a good paced story that takes its time telling it while not dragging behind. It starts strong and ends stronger. I can see where some people might not like the ending as I did, but it makes sense. Through the story, there is some of the best character development I have seen. Cal has trust issues, Greez just wants to get the job over with and be gone with everyone, and Cere, well, you'll find out. But besides the main characters, you're going to see and feel a strong connection with the supporting characters. All have important roles and all go through their own trials just as Cal does. Now, if you aren't a Star Wars fan and you're here for the gameplay, then yeah, you might be lost in the game for a while, but just pay attention. Read the lore you find throughout the game, and you should come out fully understanding the story of the game. Now it's come time for me to debunk something about the gameplay, so here it is. I read and saw reviews of people comparing this game to Dark Souls, and truthfully, it is like a From Software game, but not Dark Souls. This game, if anything, is like Sekiro, but only in combat and meditating. The exploration is easily compared to Rise of the Tomb Raider because of how big that one is and the amount of platforming. But the thing is about comparing this game to a Souls game is that this game has a difficulty setting and it can be changed anytime throughout the game. On top of that, Souls games are hard, and this one, at least in my case, was yes, challenging, but the difficulty couldn't be compared to a Souls game. Fallen Order has a fluent swordplay with the option of many combos and abilities to parry, block, evade, and roll. All of these are techniques to use to damage an enemy or weaken their defense, allowing you to follow through with your attack. Defeating an enemy then grants you XP, which helps you get skill points that you can use to unlock skills once you meditate. When you're greeted at death's front door, you lose XP that you have in your meter. Rarely will you have to go back and grab that off the ground. Most times, in order to get your experience back, you have to land at least one attack on whoever or whatever killed you. Once you have all your XP settled and you find a place to meditate, you will then have a choice of upgrading Force, your lightsaber, or your survival being health and blocking blaster bolts. Most skills cost 1 to 2 skill points, and very few cost 3. Now, I would carefully consider your playstyle when upgrading, because you could buy a skill for a double-bladed lightsaber, but yet you never use it, so you're not benefiting from it. Other than upgrading skills while meditating, the only other thing you can do is rest, which saves the game. There is no fast travel option. All areas have to be reached on foot. Some may hate this, but this is where 50% of the gameplay comes in, and that is the amount of platforming Fallen Order has. It's more than jumping pits, it's more intricate. You'll come to areas where you have to jump, pull a rope or vine your way, swing into a wall run with 3 walls to jump from, and then you'll jump onto a slippery slope, and as you're sliding, you're going to use Force to push items out of your way. Swinging and all that stuff is kind of similar to the usage of the pickaxe from the Tomb Raider games. You'll even have times where you're balancing on pipes, blocking blaster shots on the pipe or mid-jump from one object to the next. Now, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't expecting this game to be as smart as it was when it came to combat or the platforming. I mean, they truly made sure no space in this game felt empty, making sure that we had a challenge or obstacle around every corner. Now, I do, however, have one complaint with one of the features when it comes to jumping pits. When you go to climb a wall, not mantle, but climb the wall. After jumping towards the wall, your character grabs the wall, but you have to press LT or L2 to make sure he's gripping it, otherwise you fall. This will prompt every time you begin to climb up a wall. Not often, but enough times for me to notice. It's gonna damper on the whole flow of platforming, and the last thing you want is an epic sequence of you avoiding cannon shots while sliding down a hill to be ruined just because you have to make sure you grip the wall. Now, it makes sense in Tomb Raider because with the pickaxe, you have to hit the pickaxe into the rock. But grabbing onto a wall of vines, it wouldn't be so bad if it didn't happen every time I got onto a wall, but it does, so it really was annoying. Now, aside from combat and jumping around this game, exploration is a key part in this game. You will, as I did, get sidetracked. Luckily, most areas tie in together, so once you're done with one path, you're going to be back to where you started. The reason for exploration is 1, to find chests for loot, and then 2, just kill more enemies, get more XP, and then therefore you're going to get more skills. Now, the loot option in this game is all customization options as a poncho, outfit, BD1 colors, and colors for your ship, the Mantis. Lightsaber customization options are switches, emitters, materials, sleeve, and color. But don't expect to get a lightsaber color often, and I won't say why, just know you're going to be stuck with green or blue for a long while. Now, one thing that surprised us with this game before launch was the ability to fly to different planets, making us understand that this game was bigger than we expected. Now, the ship you fly to planets in is called the Mantis. The Mantis does not play a huge part as people might expect. Once aboard the Mantis, you have a room in the back that has a lightsaber workbench and a place to meditate. Beyond that, there's a place for you to plant seeds you find on planets for Grease, because he hates being outside. And then you can access the holo table to travel to new planets. There is no air combat of any kind in this game, but we do get a badass sequence where you get to control an AT-AT. If anything comes from this gameplay, it's that there was never a dull moment. A game filled with epic lightsaber battles that truly tested your ability as a gamer, platforming that requires a quick response or you'll fall to your death, and to top it all off, the design of the game does nothing but complements everything else I have mentioned. Respawn isn't a stranger to really eye-popping and fun designs, and Fallen Order is no exception. This game has planets that range from the greenest of greens to the reddest of hells. No planet looked the same, and each had their own variety of enemies that not only were designed with pure talent, but each enemy had their own attacks, making you change your playstyle with every planet you visited. I always feel silly talking about graphics, because with today's technological advancements, pretty much every game looks good, but yet it's games like this that make you impressed due to the amount of detail not only in the world but characters as well. Making a game look good is only part of design. You have to make it sound just as stunning as it looks. And guess what? Again, Respawn nails it with this part of design. There are tons of sound from every creature's growl or snarl to every person's voice, and that's not even to mention the soundtrack. They had their work cut out for them from day one. They made sure the lightsaber battles felt immersive, not only with the sabers hitting each other, but if you're in battle and it's in mud, you're going to hear the characters splash in the mud or slide across the ground when you push them away from you or pull them towards you. When it came to the design, I was a huge fan, but I did have one problem, and it's a problem that if you watch my Outer Worlds review, you know that I cannot stand this. Mostly in the first 10 to 15 hours of the game, you're going to find that this game loves to freeze and load the world. You can see the world, yes, but it still loves to just stop and load. Later in the game, it didn't load, but the first part of the game, it was bothersome when it happened. Aside from that, the design in this game is a great example of how it should be. With that being said, here's some clips, and now it's your time to judge for yourself.
How do we get on top?
Now, in this whole thing, I didn't talk about how good or bad the soundtrack was, and that's for one biased reason. Who doesn't love the soundtrack and everything Star Wars? Am I right? Either way, it's come time for my opinion. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is a damn fun game filled with exceptional combat that isn't too hard but still challenges the players, as us Souls people would say, get good, but nowhere near as getting good as Dark Souls 1 or 2. If this game was all about combat, I'm not sure it would be nearly as fun as it is, but luckily it's not. We have the platforming, and it's done almost perfectly. I had a few issues being with the climbing walls and the loading, but other than that, I never encountered any other bugs. Now, I'm not saying no one else did, just for me, I did not. With everything I've said about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, it's worth $55 out of $60. It could use a small patch to fix the loading and get rid of the damn gripping of the walls, or just make it happen not so often. But overall, it was a phenomenal gaming experience, as every game should be. Now, before I head out, I just wanted to say, if you ever forget who developed this game, just die. For some reason, the devs decided to put their name on the screen after you die. Yep, that's all I got. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and subscribe. If not, then hit that thumbs down. Either way, I'm still going to be reviewing.